Hi, Rachel here. The reason I'm showing a video of me doing some fluid art, I've been doing fluid art now for almost a year. I've got like 14 pieces out, is I wanted to show, first off, I took a course, Glee Pours, G-L-E-E pour, and it was for a funnel cloud pour, and I didn't realize that was going to be kind of more difficult. They make it look so easy on the videos. The people that are doing it, they're usually very experienced, and they just make it look real easy. But nonetheless, it gave some good recipes for the funnel pour. And and it was a very good price. It was a very good course. But I have essential tremors. It's actually benign essential tremors, and it's something that you're born with. Though it doesn't show up as bad when you're younger, it just progressively gets worse as you go on. It's usually you get it from a parent, either one or both parents, and it's nobody really knows much about it. They can control it with anti-seizure medication. I can't take that. It just knocks me out and makes me worthless. I do take a beta blocker, and that helps some. It was really effective when you first start taking it, but then after your body gets used to it, it just adapts. And I take the strongest dose that I'm able to take without it affecting my blood pressure. So anyway, with that being said, it doesn't bother me as much as it bothers other people. So you'll see it in here. It's a lot worse when I'm having some anxiety. I was having a bit of anxiety. First, I was doing something I hadn't done before. Second, I was doing it on camera. I wasn't really sure. I even left out a step. I was kind of perplexed as to what I was doing. I should have kind of rehearsed it a little more in my mind and maybe just kind of role played it a little bit. But I didn't think it was that big of a deal. But my tremor's pretty bad in this. But I'm still able to get it done, and I came out with a pretty decent piece. Then the second video is I went and I took one of my Valiums, because that's another thing I can take if the anxiety gets really bad, because the anxiety really brings out the tremor. So I'll take a 5 milligram Valium, and it just helps calm me, makes me feel more calm and not so focused on the tremor. And I took that, and you can still see the tremor, but I felt a lot more calm inside. I can control my hands. I mean, I can put on my makeup, I can cook, there's not anything I can't do. Maybe I couldn't do surgery, but I'm not doing that. So, you know, there's not anything in my daily life that I can't do because I have this tremor. There are some people that can't even brush their teeth. They can't drink out of a cup. They can't feed themselves. So it is a life messer-upper. And but I don't let it stop me. My dad had it. He had it really bad. And but anyway, so I wanted to do this video mainly to show for that Glee pour, because they were saying show us your work. So I was just gonna, it took me a long time to figure out how to set up the cameras and all that stuff. That was another whole thing. And but anyway, I just want you all to see this, and don't freak out because you see me, you know, sloshing paint around. It's not that bad, but it was. The first one, I was sloshing the paint so bad in the funnel. That funnel is really hard to hold on to, and the one that I got, I had to borrow from a neighbor, and it's real slippery, real shiny, smooth plastic, and my hands kept slipping off of it. If I held it at the bottom, it was a lot easier to steady, but my hand kept slipping down on it, and I didn't want to get in the paint. Anyway, my hand kept slipping and it was just sloshing. So because the paint was sloshing around in the funnel, it blended, and it blended to a beautiful purple. Not one of my best colors, but it's a lot of people like purple, and so it came out pretty decent. And so I just wanted to show that to you. The second one I did, I was able to hold it a little better, and I did get cells. The guy on the course said that the cells aren't as good or prevalent in transparent paint versus opaque paint, and I think most all my paints were, except maybe a couple, were transparent. And so on the magenta, which I know was transparent, the cells didn't show up in that. So all I did was, and it showed up everywhere else, so all I did was just use a little, like a skewer and some silicone oil, and just dabbed the end of the skewer into the silicone oil, just where there was just a minute amount of silicone on it, and then just dabbed it where I wanted the cell to be. And I did it all in that magenta color, and it turned out pretty good. So anyway, I'm going to show this to you and let you all see. And anybody out there that might have essential tremors, don't let it stop you. You know, see if there's some medication that you can get. My sister and I went and had our pictures made about a year or so ago, and the photographer, which they're getting to be not very many photographers now with all this computer stuff, but she had essential tremors pretty bad, and she had it in her voice and head really bad. Mine's a little bit in my head, but it's mostly my hands, as you can see in the video. But she had it really bad in her head and her hands, and she was a photographer, so she's taking pictures, you know, and she has her camera on a tripod, which most of them do anyway. But she didn't take any medication because she didn't like the medicine that the doctor gave her, and so instead of experimenting with some different medications, she just quit. And but so there are people out there doing stuff with this, if you want to call it a disability. It's just a weird thing, and they don't really know much about it. They do have a Frankenstein surgery where they'll stick a rod down in your brain and hook it to an electrode like a pacemaker that they put up under your skin in your chest area, just under your skin, and it sends some signal to that part of the brain, that middle part of the brain, that helps control the tremors, and they can set the settings. And anyway, so that's called deep brain stimulation. And but I'm not at anywhere in the point where I'm gonna want some the medical cartel digging around in my brain. No, thank you. All right, here's with the video, and I'll catch up with you at the end of the video. Okay, here we go with my shaking episode. This is an 8-inch wood thingy board, and I had painted over it with some chalk paint to give it a little bit of texture and to so that the paint doesn't sink in. What I'm doing there is I'm pouring on the base coat. It has its own formula from that Glee Pours, and I'm not going to give away their formula, but it's pretty basic. And so I'm pouring that on there, and you're supposed to spread it to the edges. I was going to do it with that spatula and thought better of that because it was so little. So then I'm just going to go ahead and roll it out. Some people just spin it, and when you spin it, it'll go ahead and stretch over to the edges. But so I'm just doing it that way. And then it's really watery paint. Their formula is super watery. I don't like that thin of paint. It just, I don't know, it just is too I don't know, messy or something. Too many things can go wrong with really watery paint, but you have to have it watery for that cloud thing to work. And each one of the deals had, the paints had a different formulation. So you had your lacing. That'll be the first thing I'll put in there. When you see me putting the funnel in, that what I'm grabbing there is the lacing that defines the cells. So you put your funnel down, and I was supposed to take, and I'm putting the lacing in, but you're supposed to take the base formula, the base paint, and put it around the outer edge of that funnel to kind of buffer the paint from coming out of the funnel. I didn't do that, and as you see, because of me shaking like that, the paint is just seeping out of the bottom of that funnel because I can't keep the thing on there. That funnel was so hard to hold on to, and with the shaking just made it worse. But you can see I'm just giving my paints a good mixing there. And I don't spill a drop of paint anywhere else, maybe a drop, but I don't spill it all over the place. But I do get it shook up pretty good. I'm calling this piece all shook up. And then I was going to put the cloud, and you see it's all coming out. I was supposed to put that cloud, the white right there's the cloud, and I didn't take the lid off of it. So how am I going to do that? Oh, I know. I'll just leave the funnel standing up there. How did that funnel just stand up there like that? Beats me, but that worked. And so I need to put some more paint in because it all leaked out. So I'm putting in more paint, and I'm not giving much thought about what colors I mean, I picked my colors, but I know that they can all make a different color, and the color they made was purple. And so here comes the cloud paint, and you're supposed to pour it up high. That's why I left it way up high. I probably could have even poured it up higher. But I didn't use very much of it, and I could have used a little more probably. And so I'm putting in more paint, and of course it's all coming out. And then you're supposed to raise it up and down, but keep the tip of the funnel in the paint as you kind of lift it up out of it, just up and down, making little ripples. That didn't work so good for me either. So there it is, and so I give it a little spin because that's what they say to do. So I give it a little spin, and it takes a little bit for the cells to come up. And I didn't have any cells in here. I did have some of the cloud come up, and it's starting. You can barely see it starting to come out now. It comes out little by little, and so you just have to leave it. So I do torch it just to get the bubbles out. The paint's so thin you don't really have to worry about bubbles, but you just do that. And so then that's it for that. Okay, now for the second one. I got a little better organized this time. I poured my paints into the little paper cups, which are easier for me to handle. I made sure the lid was off of everything, off my cloud, and opened on my lacing. And now I'm putting down my base paint. And so I feel like I have a little better idea what I'm doing here. Probably if I did like 50 more of these, I'd have it down. And I did get a funnel I just got ordered that is got a little textured sides to it, and it's bigger, so it's easier to hold on to. So now I'm spreading it around to the edge there, and got it on there nice and neat. Now for the funnel, and once again, I don't put the base paint around the edge of the bottom of the funnel to kind of buffer the paint that's inside the funnel, which is a big mistake. You need to do that. Lacing paint goes in. Now some blue, and my paints, I had a couple of Amsterdam paints. The course says that you have to use tube paints because they're a medium body paint, and so they want you to use tube paints. not like liquid paints or heavy body paints. And so I did have some Amsterdam paints, a couple of them, but the rest of my paints, I think the blues were all Walmart paint. I think it's Essential or Essentials, or I don't know. It's some name. I should have got it and looked at it, but it's the Walmart and the craft part. And, you know, it doesn't tell you if it's opaque. It doesn't tell you anything about the paint. But they seem to be okay enough paints. So I don't know what I've got here that's opaque and what's transparent. But I do, in this one, decide to put a little gold in there, the Deco Art 14 karat gold, just because, if nothing else, throw some gold at it and see what happens. I think that there's the gold. You know, you always got to put gold in there just to save it, you know. And you can see it's starting to come out at the bottom. It wouldn't be coming out if I had lined the spout with some base paint. But it's not pouring out like it was with my other one, and it's not getting really shook up. And I was lifting it up and down, keeping it in the paint to ripple it out of there, and careful to not let it drip across the board, and because this is another 8-inch board. And now I'm kind of stretching it out, making sure it all gets to the goes to the edge and starts to go over the sides, because you do want your sides covered. And now I'm kind of dabbing the paint on the sides to just make sure that the sides are covered. Then, of course, I will be torching it. And I'm starting to see a few cells. It's hard to see on the camera, but they are starting to come up. The guy on the course, his cells just pop up immediately. You know, of course, he's got it down. He knows exactly. But they do share their formula with you. And the course was only $30, and it was worth it. You can see cells are starting to come up. They're kind of in the middle. But the magenta is transparent, and he did say something about transparent paint and the lack of cells in that. So I just took care of that. And but I don't show me doing that, because it was kind of a second thought. I thought, well, I just wouldn't want cells in there, because it was I was almost half of the. Of course, that kind of shrunk up a little bit, but that's all that. Now here's my close-up, and sorry for the wiggle woggles. If you get car sick watching this, sorry. But you can see the clouds now. It's wet. It's still wet, but you can see the clouds all popped up. They're not as defined as some people like it. It's because it got really shook up. So that's why I'm calling this all shook up. And it shows kind of a bluish purple here, but it's more of a purple on the in real life. So, you know, that's how it goes when you're doing this stuff. This is just for fun. I mean, I don't consider myself an artist, and although my mother was an artist, she was an art teacher also, and you know, so that's how that is. Now that's my second wet one, wet one, and there are cells there now. That has some color to it, and it's got some cells. It might be too busy for some people, but I was happy with this. And this one, I'll keep the first one too, just because it's like my first one, and it shows what happens when you shake up your paints. and this, you know, formula is so thin that it doesn't take much for those paints to blend. When your paints are thicker, they don't blend as easily. And so that is, and sorry for the movement there. There's a lot of movement, but so be it. And there's all kinds of colors in there, and all kinds of weird cells. Some people call them wonky cells. I've heard people call these, they get real insulted with some of these cells. They have to be just perfect, but I'm just happy to have a cell. And some of those have little colors in them and stuff, so I kind of like all that. But that's it. Thanks for watching. All right, I'm back. I just wanted to show you the dry ones. I don't have my little screens that shows me if that's working or not, so I'll just hold it up here to the camera. This is the first one I did. I'll hold it this way, but hopefully you can see that. So it turned out okay. That's the one where the paint really got mixed up in that funnel. But I've got a few little cloudy looking things here and some colors. And yeah, so I mean it's purple, but it turned out okay. And then this is the second one I did where I had a little better control of what I was doing and realized what I was doing. This is the one where I did put some silicone drops just right in here in the magenta. But that one turned out with more color in it and cells. So I was pretty happy with this one for sure. So anyway, so I just wanted to share that with everybody. Ooh, it's kind of oily. I guess that's why people have to wash those before they varnish them or resin them. All right, so I will see you guys on the flip side, and I will talk you through some of this, some of my pour here, and I will show you what step I left out, which was kind of an important step. All right, talk to you later. Bye.